goal. The Cosmos on top 3-1. 13 seconds to go in the game. Kinalia had not scored a goal all day long. Winds, fires, and it is a bullseye. The Cosmos win 4-1 tonight. They're in Atlanta to take on the Chiefs. This is Cosmos Soccer. From Fulton County Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia, the Cosmos meet the Atlanta Chiefs. Brought to you in part by Budweiser. For all you do, this Bud's for you. And by Getty, who wants you to get the most out of your car. And by General Tire, where you find quality, choice, and price. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jim Carvelos, together with Seamus Mallon, another chapter in Cosmos Soccer. We're in Atlanta, Georgia. Now, the Cosmos coming off that 4-1 tough win. The score didn't indicate it, but it was tough. The Cosmos had to score 4 goals in the last 20 minutes to beat Tampa Bay last Sunday. Now take on a team, the new Chiefs, not the old Chiefs, the new Chiefs, since they came back a couple of years ago, a club they've never lost to. However, it's never been easy here.
It's not been easy here. A couple of 3-2 games in the last 2 seasons, one of them going to the 9th round of a shootout. The Cosmos really want to keep up this string of 9-pointers, Jim, they've been on to, and really after a disappointing start, I think Atlanta wants tonight to turn their season around.
All right, now let's go back a little bit last year. Angelo DiBernardo, I thought, made one of the great goals of the year for the Cosmos in this stadium. And Seamus, let's pick it up now. We're going to see Angelo hit the ball to Van der Elst, and Francois made a great run up the right side, and now he's going to cut the ball back, and watch this.
And Angelo DiBernardo, who started this whole thing, follows up beautifully, walks into a delicately placed ball, and then just thumps it with his left foot, a screamer into the upper corner. Really one of the great goals of the year.
All right, and the Cosmos won the game, as Seamus mentioned, 3-2, but it was difficult. All right, as far as Atlanta is concerned, a lot of new faces here. One of those is an English international by the name of Brian Kidd.
Brian Kidd has all kinds of credentials. He has played for England, played for Manchester City, Manchester United, Arsenal, Everton. Really, he's been at the top of his game a few years ago and is now coming over here from Bolton. A big surprise and an important late signing.
All right, should be a good match. Stick around with us. Seamus and I are going to come back with the starting lineups for tonight's game. You're watching Cosmos Soccer.
The 1956 Olympics. Bill Russell's art was defense.
Stadium, Fulton County Stadium, and the Cosmos take on the Chiefs, a club they've beaten 5 straight times. A lot of those games have been tough ones. Starting lineup, Seamus, Atlanta.
Atlanta starting with Graham Tudd in goal, Webster Lachaba at one wing back, Don Draghi at stopper, Tony Whelan at sweeper, and Bruce Savage as a fullback on the left side. In the middle of the field, they're going to have Carl Strong, Branko Radovich, Lawrence Chalin, and Brian Alderson, an old foe from New England days. And up front, Brian Kidd and Paul Child. The Cosmos come back with the lineup that they had against Tampa Bay. There you see Angelo DiBernardo, Hubert Birkenmeyer in goal, Eskandarian, Durgan, Bobby Arushi sweeping, Ricebergen at left back. And midfield, Rick Davis, Francois Van der Elst, Bogi Bogicevic, and Angelo DiBernardo. And up front, of course, Kinalia and Senino.
All right, let's talk about records. Cosmos, Eastern Division, 4 wins, 1 loss. Tied with Washington in that respect. Washington also 4-1. That's our opponent Sunday at Giant Stadium. But the Cosmos have more bonus points. Cosmos lead 37-33. Now Atlanta playing in the Southern Division. They're the only non-Florida team in the Southern Division. They play with Jacksonville, Fort Lauderdale, Tampa Bay. They are 2-3, 20 points, and they're only 8 points out of first place. And they've lost twice to Fort Lauderdale, once on the shootout. Last time they played them here, they outshot them 20-8 and lost the game 2-0. And then they lost that bizarre game to Washington when the goalkeeper scored. So they played better than their record might indicate, and the Cosmos are in for a rough night tonight. They're going to have to play this. Not a bad team, Shane.
It's not a bad team at all, and the addition of Brian Kidd cannot be underestimated. You mentioned they outshot Fort Lauderdale 20-8. He alone took 7 shots of those 20 and looked very dangerous and just a little unlucky.
This program is authorized under rights granted by the Cosmos solely for the entertainment of our audience, and any publication, rebroadcast, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this event, including the imposition of a charge for viewing the program without the express written consent of the Cosmos, is prohibited. There's Tony Whelan. Long ball now. Birkenmeyer comes out. It goes over his head, goes over the goal line. Hubert touched it. Last corner kick for Atlanta. Angelo DiBernardo, whose 2 goals last year sparked the Cosmos 3-2 win here at Fulton County Stadium. Cosmos Sunday against the Washington Diplomats. At number 8 is Brian Alderson. He's a great old pro, Brian Alderson. Always played well against the Cosmos when he played for New England, and that's not a very good corner kick.
There, by the way, you see the green armband that the Cosmos are wearing tonight to show their respect for and sympathy for the unfortunate families here in Atlanta who have lost some of their children.
By Cosmos being pressed, they come out of the box. Bob Yarushi with the ball. Vim Ricebergen. Okay, here's Vim. On the left side to Bogey. Bogey's pass now. Ricky Davis under pressure. There he goes back to Bogey. So here comes Atlanta marking very closely, but that's not news for the Cosmos. They see this every game. Doesn't make it any easier, though, but they see it every game. Ricebergen, now to Ricky Davis. Davis beats his man, Rick Davis. Bogey lofts it in the box for Giorgio, and the ball knocked back to the goalkeeper. Good play by Savage. Bruce Savage playing that fullback, an American, born in Florida. Ball knocked away and a foul called against Jeff Durgan. Durgan fouling Brian Kidd just to let Brian know that he's in the game.
Surprising, though, the referee didn't call that up. He allowed a throw in instead. It looked like, as you said, he had fouled it.
Here's a cross. Kick and a goal. And a goal. That's incredible. That is incredible. Now it's Paul Child. That long, lazy cross came over. Birkenmeyer could not handle it. And Child headed it in. That's 5 goals for Paul.
I think this is Strong who gets the foot of that. It just flicked up, but not far enough away, and it's just an easy goal for Paul Child. And that puts him, I think, into 3rd place now on the all-time scoring list in the NASL. He needed 1 point. He got 2, a little thick on. An easy, easy goal for Paul Child right at the beginning of this game.
That was a good cross, too. That man almost went out of bounds over there, made a beautiful cross.
That was Carl Strong.
Carl Strong, youngster from Northern Virginia. And it's 1-0 Atlanta on top. So the Chiefs strike first here early on. And Atlanta coming on the attack now. Carl Strong. Down goes Kidd again.
Bad tackle from behind there by Durgan. Coming in a little bit over anxiously, it seems to me, in some of these situations. I guess maybe letting Kidd know he's going to be in for a tough evening, but giving away a free kick in a rather dangerous area here, especially with a player like Brian Alderson that can really hit him hard with his left foot.
All right, here's Brian Alderson with the ball. Looks like he's going to take it. Well, they had a play set up, but it didn't come off, and now the shot easily handled by Hubert Birkenmeyer. Throwing out to Sanino. Look at Savage come up very quickly on him. They have to go back to the goalkeeper. And Birkenmeyer has a long throw out on the left. There's Rick Davis. Now Escondarian. Esky, quick pass upfield, too far for Ricebergen. Don Dregge on that back line, the ex-Washington Diplomat. We see ex-Diplomats all over the league now. And doing well. They had a good team. Washington was a good side. Now there are the new Diplomats. We're going to be seeing them first half Sunday. And now a foul against the Cosmos. Lichaba also had an assist on that goal by Child. They give Strong and Lichaba assists. Tony Whalen getting rid of the ball over there. Tony, number 4. Actually, now you want it for the Cosmos. Vander Els. Cosmos move on the attack. That's Rick Davis on the left wing. To Bogey at the 35-yard line. Bogey in the middle of the field of Vander Els. Francois marked closely. Let's go back to Bogey. Not of him, Ricebergen. Now a long, lazy ball that's headed back. He was out of bounds, I believe. Linesman called over the line. The referee let him play on. Well, they may have also called offside. I don't see how they could have called offside.
No, I think he was calling it out of bounds. Yeah. The referee seemed to see the call, but allowed it to go on. So most unusual situation there.
Alderson, a long ball, easy for Birkenmeyer.
Well, this is
Cosmos'
peculiar.
next regular season game, Seamus, is Sunday, May the 3rd at 2:30 p.m. versus the Washington Diplomats at Giant Stadium. It's Cosmos Photomat Day. First 50,000 attending on Sunday will receive a free coupon, good for a full roll of Photomat film and $2 off on developing. Ricebergen. By the way, you'll see Vim at halftime with Phil Mushnick will be interviewing Vim Ricebergen. His cross is knocked down. Whalen battling Ricebergen. Now DiBernardo away from a defender. Now can't bring the ball into control. Bounce too high for him. This is natural grass. As you can tell, the middle of the field from 35-yard line to 35-yard line on the left sideline is in the infield. But that's not too bad.
No.
It's better there than in front of the goal, Seamus.
Yes, I talked to Hennis Weisweiler about this. He came out to look at the field this morning. He's really quite happy with it. Worries a little bit when you have that skin infield down near the penalty area, but here in midfield, it's really no threat.
Durgan with the ball. Kind of shouldered and elbowed there by Brian Kidd. He was getting back at him for a couple of shots that Jeff took at him. The ball rolls free to Graham Tutt. Graham Tutt. All right, Cosmos being a little aggressive there, but Whalen comes away with the ball. Tony Whalen. Now a long ball for Kidd. Kidd number 22. Kidd outside the Cosmo 35-yard line. In the box. You're right, Seamus. Child's goal puts him in 3rd place on the all-time list. Mitic is 2nd. Giorgio Chinaglia is 1st. And Steve David now has moved to 4th. Now the ball running through to Van der Elst. Here comes Francois. Get it toward Ricebergen, but the pass was off the mark. Too far for Wim. Now we've been calling, when Ricebergen first came in the league, I called him Wim. I was told that it was not Wim, not by Ricebergen, but by other people. So then we was told to use Vim, okay? We had just found out from Mr. Ricebergen himself that he wants to be called Wim. So let's go with that, Seamus.
That's right. He's also come to the bench here. He looks like he's in pain, holding his waist or his area. I don't quite figure out what he looked like. He just had a stitch or something, or he pulled a muscle maybe in his lower chest, but he looked to be in some kind of discomfort. Came over to see Joe Rosenstein is now back in play, but he's done a lot of running in this first 10 minutes or so of this game.
Using Ricebergen more and more in an attacking role, Cosmos are. There's the ball in front, and another goal. Another goal. That's incredible.
No, it's disallowed.
Disallowed. They have disallowed it now.
Offside. You can see no quarrel really from the Atlanta players.
By Cosmos on the attack. Here comes Sanino, and he couldn't control it. And now it'll be a Cosmos throw-in. So it was disallowed. Offside against Atlanta. No argument from Atlanta.
I think it was Tony Whalen actually headed it in, but he was in an offside position after when the first header came to him, and he just turned away, really knowing that he was offside and not protesting.
Cosmos knock it back on an offside. Now you couldn't get back onside. From Fulton College Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia, the score, Atlanta 1 and the Cosmos nothing. You're watching Cosmos Soccer. All right, back in Atlanta, Georgia, Jim Carvelos and Seamus Mallon, and that man, Sanino, has just tied the game while we were away. Sanino has scored his 3rd goal of the year, and here's how it happened. Cosmos attacking. Tutt came out, had the ball, then lost it. And Chinaglia picked up the ball, fired the ball, headed off the line, and here comes Sanino right on the spot, and he ties the game at 1. So Sanino now has scored more goals this year than he did all of last year. And the Cosmos have equalized. And Seamus, a big substitution for the Cosmos early on.
That's right. It's obvious that Ricebergen is still in some kind of discomfort. He's come off the field of play, and that man on the ball right now, Julio Cesar Romero, is back in. You see his knee has still got some wrapping on it there. He's recovering from an injury, but he's ready to play. And unfortunate that Wim is out. We'll have to find out exactly what that injury is.
Chinaglia had an assist on the Sanino goal, as it was Giorgio took the ball away from the goalkeeper, took a shot on goal that was headed off the line very well, and then out to Sanino. There's Ricebergen. Looks like he's in a bit of discomfort sitting next to Joe Rosenstein. We'll try and get information as to the extent of that injury. Really something for Ricebergen to come off the field. He's such a tough hombre. He must be hurt. He wouldn't be sitting on that bench. Cosmos headed away, and Bogey has the ball. It's a 1-1 game now. The Cosmos have equalized, and Sanino's third goal of the year. Now Bogey plays it through, and a loose ball picked up by Romero, and then just knocked into the box where Tutt picks it up. It looked like Tutt, Seamus, just couldn't get control of that ball on the goal the Cosmos scored.
That's right, and a pretty remarkable job by Drogi, actually on the line, blocking Giorgio Chinalia's initial shot. It looked like a sure goal for Giorgio.
Yes, it was a great block. A header off the line by Drogi. Cosmos tied down the Sanino goal. Now come with Bogey. Now there's Romero taken away by Lee Chaba. He's a tough little guy. Here comes Lee Chaba. Knocked away from him. Good defensive play by the Cosmos.
It's important now that the Cosmos maintain the kind of midfield tightness that they've had in the games early in this season. Now they have a little bit of disruption, not because a midfielder has gone out, but because another one has come in. Romero has come in, as we know, and that probably means that Ricky Davis has gone back to play a little fullback for the Cosmos, and leaving that midfield spot open for Romero to come into. And Romero's got to play himself into the game well and not sort of crowd up the other players.
All right, Sanino got it back to Angelo Di Bernardo. Angelo now tries to run it through, and it's picked off by Brian Alderson. Again, a real battle in the middle of the field as each club is playing 4-4-2 tonight. A lot like that Tampa game. You get 4 guys across the middle of the field just battling each other, and it's a world war. Now here comes Sanino with that great speed. Now give and go for Sanino in the box. He ran through and touched out the ball. Almost shows you how dangerous Sanino can be.
Lovely give and go executed there. Almost paid off. Again, a little crowding around the ball. Some of those other players have to pull out to make that give and go a little bit more likely to succeed.
All right, we're in Atlanta, 31-28 to play in the first half. It's a 1-1 soccer game. The Cosmos equalize the Sanino goal. They're going to call high kicking on. Now they're going to call handball. Handball against Atlanta. Tickets for all Cosmos home games are available at the Cosmos ticket office, 75 Rockefeller Plaza. At Giant Stadium, Gate B, at Ticketron, Charge-It, Madison Square Garden, and branches of the Fidelity Union Banks and branches of the manufacturer's Hanover Trust Company. There's Mr. Tutt, Graham Tutt.
Giorgio Chinalia about to cut in for a feed there, was obviously held by Draghi. And on the other side, Romero himself was wide open, and I don't think he was spotted by Vanderbilt. I must give a word of praise for Bogey so far in this game. Bogey's done a nice job with ball possession in the middle of the field. Here you see the defensive wall. This has not proved much of an obstacle to Chinaglia last week, although I have to admit the wall was a little ragged in the last 13 seconds for Tampa Bay. Let's see what the Cosmos come up with this time. They had a great set piece in Dallas, as you remember.
All right, Chinaglia now will take this. And it runs through the wall again, but it went wide. May have been deflected, but it was not deflected by an Atlanta player. It went over the goal line. The Cosmos missed that opportunity. Georgia doesn't seem too happy about it. All he's done is scored 26 goals, Seamus, in his last 12 games, including the playoffs last year. 26 goals in his last 12 games. He's got a long boot. He's got a good leg. All right, here comes Atlanta. Dangerous club, and they're not a bad team. We told you that at the top, and I think you're seeing it out here. They're a dangerous team. They've got a lot of good players on this team. Now Davis, Cosmos playing it in their own end, and Atlanta's not letting them just come out of their own end, Seamus. They're really putting pressure on them back there. Here's a good shot of Jeff Durgan. Playing it now to Bob Yarushi. Bob's played very well, very steady in the sweeper position. Yarushi doesn't come up much. I don't think Vice Filer wants him to come up much. And now a foul called against Atlanta. That foul will be called on Bruce Savage, knocking Sanino down.
Well, Sanino gave it a little bit of an extra Oscar job there to be sure the call was made. He was hit, but he didn't go down, and so he sort of fell over and got the call. We've got a report here from Mark Brickley about Wim Reisbergen, who has a deep pain under the rib cage, much as we thought. He complained about this before the game, apparently, but tried to give it a go anyhow, and just simply couldn't continue.
And I notice now that he's not on the bench either. They must have brought him back to the locker room. Put out there by Atlanta, by Lawrence Chellan, number 7. He's a South African player.
That's part of the fundamental background of Atlanta. They have a number of South African players. Webster Luchaba, of course, here, and some others who are on the bench.
Kenny Mokajoa, who played for Washington as well. Talking about speedballs, he's a speedball. All right, here's Whalen. Ball comes through. Good defensive play, though, by Angelo DiBernardo. His foot speed allowed him to get the ball back to Birkenmeyer. It's a 1-1 game. And Yarushi has marvelous ball control for a big guy. He really has a very nice touch, good control. And now here's Angelo DiBernardo against Strong. Now play to Giorgio. And he has to play it back outside to Romero. Good to see Romero back in the lineup after that knee injury, ligament problem. And now along the lead up the left side. And nobody there except Lichaba.
Well, that was unfortunate because the entire Atlanta team was lined right across the 35-yard line, almost on the line with no depth at all, trying to pull everybody offside. If that ball could have been lofted with a little bit less power, then I think Quinalia or Vanderels were ready to run on under it.
Right, here comes Ricky Davis off with the ball now. The Cosmos in Atlanta zone, just over the line. Bogey with it. And now Julio Romero. Long shot that's deflected. Out comes Tutt. And just ahead of Angelo DiBernardo, who was right there, waiting for that rebound. Now Whalen gets rid of the ball. That was Child, number 9. Paul Child, who actually started his NASL career here with the old Atlanta Chiefs. Then he went, when they folded, he went on the expansion list to San Jose and was a brilliant player there for many years. Now he's back in Atlanta again, and he leads his club with 5 goals now, counting tonight. No one in the club has scored more than 1, other than Child. Cella now, number 7. Good play by Sanino. Sanino came back down, take the ball away from the fullback Savage, who was in an attacking position, and the speed of Sanino also helps you defensively, Seamus.
That's right. Well, also, you know, when you're only playing with 2 strikers, as are both these teams tonight, then the wing fullbacks have to come up hopefully in a surprising manner rather than a predictable manner. And the surprise is what they hope will confuse their opposing striker, so he won't go back with them. But Sanino can cover a lot of ground quickly and recover well.
And there's no doubt about it, the loss of Ricebergen doesn't help matters at all. He is such a key player for the Cosmos defensively as well as offensively. Become more of an offensive threat this year. And that's going to help. The Cosmos are going to have to use their great bench now. The ball over the goal line. There'll be a goal kick coming up for the Cosmos. Become a Cosmos Progresso ball person. Details on how to participate in this are on panels of selected Progresso quality food items at your favorite store. We have time remaining in Atlanta, 26 minutes, and it's a 1-1 game. Now coming in toward Giorgio, and the ball deflected free, back to Tutt. Luchaba plays it up the midfield. Luchaba, very talented player. Playing him at fullback. Well, watch him. He'll make strong runs up that right side, Seamus.
He's very quick, too.
Yes.
He's got a lot of speed. He's got a very kind of deceptive stride. He looks like he can close it down quickly, and then 2 or 3 strides later, he's 5 yards ahead of you.
Now you see the Cosmos defensively trying to close Atlanta down in their own end. And the pressure, both teams applying a lot of pressure. Here's Radovic now. Branko Radovic in toward goal and headed over the top. Headed over the top. It'll be a goal kick coming up for the Cosmos, and Birkenmeyer has had some pressure on him tonight. The second leading goals against goalkeeper.
That was a great ball, though. Terrific ball from Radovic, who placed the ball right into the stride, as it were, not at the foot level, but at head level of Child, who got a good position on Eski, got inside Eski on the ball side of him, was able to flick it onto the goal just over the top. Good effort, nice piece of work.
You might be wondering, where's Keith Furphy? You know, he plays for the Atlanta Chiefs. Well, Keith has had a tough go. And they just put him on the bench. He's not injured. They're just going to give him a night off. At least that's what they told us. Now, he may be in here in the second half for all we know. Keith Furby, who is the NASL's all-time indoor scorer. There's Furby, blonde youngster.
Number 16.
And here comes Tutt with DiBernardo breathing down his neck. Ever since Tutt lost that ball that the Cosmos scored a goal on, they're challenging every ball that goes into them. But you should do that anyway, right, Seamus?
Oh, yes. I mean, the goal did come from Karam, as we said. In fact, from 2 Karams. You've got to challenge everything, and you can get yourself a couple of easy goals now and again like that.
All right, here's Angelo. Whalen on his shoulder. And Whalen made the defensive play. Whalen took Angelo DiBernardo. Radovic plays it up that right side for Brian Alderson. That's a good ball. Alderson around Romero. And now run off the ball and foul by Rick Davis. Rick Davis fouled him at the 35-yard line. Time remaining 23:45. Rick Davis has had a tremendous year. Great to see Rick come back the way he has.
Well, he feels that he made a good shoulder-to-shoulder challenge there, but referee thinks he used a little bit more elbow than shoulder, I guess.
We told you at the top of the show, it's always tough in Atlanta. Always tough in Atlanta. Now, this is no different. And now a foul called against Atlanta. Eskandarian was knocked over by Child that time, Paul Child. That'll be a foul against the Chiefs.
Chiefs, I started to say early in the telecast, using this high ball to good advantage. You sometimes wonder if it's not playing into the goalkeeper's hands.
Thank you very much. The nice people, the nice southern hospitality here. All right, the Cosmos now with the ball. Thank you, gentlemen. All right, Ricky Davis on that left sideline trying to beat Lee Chaba. Lee Chaba made the play. Ricky comes right back, and they both get their hand up in the air. Each wanted the call. But the call went, I think, correctly to Atlanta. Ricky Davis hit it last.
I was talking about these high balls, Jim. You know, they normally will play into the goalkeeper's hands, especially if they're hit from a long distance because they take a long time to get there. But so far, they've benefited from it. You noticed that Hubert was in a little bit of trouble early on. The goal came from one. And since then, several times they've looked dangerous on that high ball.
Hubert Birkenmeyer is second in the league, goals against. And Mr. Harvey in Vancouver, who is the top goals against goalkeeper, is going to be out for a couple months, Seamus. Tough. It wasn't an automobile accident. He's going to be out for 2 or 3 months. That's a tough break for Vancouver.
It is, especially since they had just sold Bruce Grobelar, who was their fine goalkeeper, who's gone to none other than Liverpool, as perhaps a successor to Clements.
All right, Atlanta stays in the ball. Romero trying for the steal. And here come the Chiefs again. This is Brian Alderson trying to pick him up. Strong, back to Alderson. This is good skill. And there is a great save by Hubert Birkenmeyer on a left-footed bomb. And I'll tell you what, Atlanta's playing like the Cosmos usually play.
Well, I've said Alderson can really let him fly. He scored one against the Cosmos before. You see him hitting that dead ball. It has very little spin on it. And almost ducked under that crossbar, but Hubert made a great save, diving and touching it over with his left hand.
Taking no chances as we check now for the Atlanta corner kick. Hubert punches it out nicely.
Yeah, good
over
clearance.
That far sideline.
That's how to do it. 2 fists up, punch it away from players, out over the sideline if necessary, but it's certainly away from the opposition.
All right, here's Radovich, back in the box, headed away. Angelo DiBernardo made that play. The Cosmos try to come out. Here's Francois Van der Elst to Romero, nicely back to Van der Elst. Now to Giorgio, and broken up by that man, Lee Chaba again. Cosmos had a good end-to-end rush going, and Lee Chaba broke it up at the very end. And now Atlanta counterattacking the ball. Child, 2 men on the ball. Eskandarian playing the man for man. This is a good ball through. A nice play by Yarushi. Bobby got right in the middle of the play. Now Tony Whalen. Cosmos under pressure. The Chiefs go outside to Alderson. That curving cross is headed away nicely. Away from Child. That was a good header by Eskandarian, who's fine in the air. That little guy can really jump. The good thing is to jump. That was a beautiful ball by Alderson, Seamus.
Sensational cross under a good amount of pressure. Alderson very little time, and he hit it beautifully with the inside of his left boot and got that swerve across the Child, but Eski was up to the task.
Right, Sinino got it off. Now they lob it for Giorgio in the box. And now high in the air, who's going to get the ball? It's going to be backheaded by Dreggy, and it's going to be Cosmos with a throw-in. Good job by Don Dreggy.
Good hand-to-hand action here. Atlanta not defending, really. They're coming out to attack. They want to, really entertain the fans here, and they've done a good job so far.
High ball coming through. Quinaglia, chance, and a goal! Great pass to Giorgio. And Quinaglia has scored again. The Cosmos lead 2-1. Make one mistake, Seamus.
It was a great ball. Well timed. That's the important thing. And Quinaglia held his ground till the right moment. He did not break until the right moment. There you see he's broken now. So he wasn't offside when the ball was passed. He gets by Dreggy, and the keeper has very little chance. But boy, talk about cutting the angle inside just inside the
That
post.
wasn't an easy ball to hit because Giorgio couldn't really follow through on it because he had Dreggy right on his shoulder.
That's right. Dreggy, in fact, got a shoulder into his chest and knocked him off balance just as he got the shot off. And he just found the far post. 2-1 Cosmos.
So that's 27 goals for Quinaya now in his last 12 and almost half game. 18:39 to play in the first half. The Cosmos down 1-0, have now taken a 2-1 lead. Yarushi with it. Birkenmeyer had his path closed, and Yarushi had to come out himself. Cosmos really getting pressure from Atlanta. Just not letting them clear out of their end as easily as they'd like to. And Yarushi just bangs it out now. Ball taking high bounces off this grass field, Seamus.
Yeah, you're right. That surprised me a little bit. It looks like an artificial surface that may not have gotten much rain so far this season.
DiBernardo, nicely to Romero. Chips to Quinaya coming through.
Yarushi was the player who put that ball through, by the way. I wasn't quite sure if it was he or Romero, but it was Bobby Yarushi.
It wasn't Giorgio cutting through. That was Francois van der Elst. Giorgio stayed out of the middle that time and allowed van der Elst to break through.
But on the goal, it was Bobby Yarushi with the assist and Quinaya with the goal.
As we say, Bobby's got a lot of skill. There's a ball that gets by, and Chellen's shot is blocked. Cosmos fortunate there. That ball came over the defender's head. Bogey was trying to mark Chellen, the midfield player, and the ball got over Bogey's head, and this was dangerous.
Look at this cross. It turns the whole defense completely around over Bogey's head. Chellen gets it, brings it down, sets it up with the left foot, and a foot save there by Birkenmeyer.
Great reaction.
Gathers it in as the defense closes around it. But another good aerial cross, a good high cross.
I didn't realize what a good save that was. That's a tough save for a goalkeeper. Anytime you keep it on the ground like that, you get it up in the air, you can bat it away with his hands. You get it on the ground, his reaction is moving his feet that quickly. It was a great save, as we saw in the replay. All right, now to Romero. And Romero going now, and the cross, he kept it in, and a shot, and a save. Cosmos almost scored again. A little back heel on a Ricky Davis shot that goes wide. Now, that defense, they were very suspect. They were very square that time. The ball just came right across. Good job by Sanino to save it initially. And then the Cosmos had two opportunities, maybe three in there to score, Seamus.
Well, the defense of Atlanta does look a little bit shaky. They're having trouble keeping up with Sanino. They don't look good in their defense down the flanks, and Cosmos, I think, are finally beginning to see that and using that as a threat. And when you use that as a threat, eventually you open up the middle.
Now a foul against the Cosmos. On Wednesday, May the 20th at 9 o'clock, the Cosmos host Anderlecht of Belgium in an international match at Giant Stadium in the Sabina Cup. Tickets for this match are available at all Cosmos ticket outlets. Call 212 area code 265-8600. The Cosmos ticket office for further information. Anderlecht of Belgium, one of the world's great teams. Now it's Birkenmeyer, easy on the cross.
And again, no panic there by Hubert. Off the line very quickly, did not dive forward to punch it away as some keepers might have, but got his good, safe hands on it and pulled it in. Jim Bogey also got an assist on that go-ahead goal by Giorgio Quinaya. As I mentioned, Bobby Yarushi got an assist, also Bogey. That must be Giorgio's 20th point of the year since he got an assist on the first goal, and 2 points for this goal, his 9th of the season, giving him 20 points.
Bobby doesn't come up as much, and I think it's by instruction. He doesn't come up as much as, say, a Beckenbauer would have out of sweeper or Carlos Alberto. But when he did come up that time, he created the goal. All right, there's Savage, the left fullback. All right, that's Ryan Kidd having a knocked away. Kidd was an English international. It was off Kidd, by the way, and the Cosmos get the throw in. And again, they're under pressure. Bogey lofts a little ball as Davis touches down nicely. Sanino in the middle of the field. Trying to get it to DiBernardo. He is tackled off the ball. And Sanino has it stolen. Stolen by Lawrence Chellen. Chellen had it stolen by Angelo DiBernardo. And Bogicha with the ball. Cosmos leading 2-1 offside. Cosmos offside. Van der Elst trying to really move forward and almost into a center forward position as Quinaya pulls out from time to time and allows Van der Elst to have that room in the middle. Well, he's offside.
That's right. And that's why it's so useful to have speedy midfield players instead of just skillful midfield players, because they can read the movements of the strikers well and move into those positions and get some scoring chances.
And then if you have speedy and skillful midfield players, and the Cosmos have an abundance of that, then you're really tough. All right, 2-1 the Cosmos. And their blue uniforms. I like this uniform, Seamus. A lighter blue than they had last year. It's colorful. All right, Cosmos attacking again. Here's the pass through again to Giorgio. Lichaba was there. Again, that was Yarushi coming up to feed a ball to Kinaya. Now Whalen up the right side, but it's over the far sideline. It'll be a Cosmos throw with 8:37 to play. Check it, 13:28 to play. I'm looking at the time here. 13:25 now to play in the half. And the Cosmos, after giving up the game's first goal to Paul Child, as Ricky Davis is fouled, countered with 2 goals, one by Sanino, one by Kinaya. They're the Cosmos' 2 top goal scorers on the season. A whistle blows, and they're going to call offside against the Cosmos.
Believe it or not, Jim, there is one scoring record in the world, or certainly the North American Soccer League, where that Giorgio Kinaya does not hold, and that is the consecutive game scoring record. That's held by Steve David, 1977, 10 straight games. Kinaya is now on his 7th straight, so he's making a run at that record too.
9 goals for Giorgio now, and he also picked up an assist. He has 2. Cosmos along that sideline with 12.5 minutes to play in the half. Wim Ricebergen started the game, left because of a painful, well, he has a pain under his rib cage. He was complaining about it, as Seamus said, before the game. Then early in the game, he complained about it again. And he's out of the game. Romero's come in. They were going to hopefully give Romero a half a game to kind of ease him back in the lineup. But he's probably going to have to play more than that. Here he is right now, Julio Cesar Romero. And it takes a while to get the touch back and the match fitness. Here's Bogey changing it, going over to Rick Davis. There's Lichaba. Boy, he's tough. Lichaba made the steal. But you got to do things quickly around him. Atlanta, they've had some problems defensively. They've had no problems offensively. They look like a dangerous club all night long. Cosmos steal the ball. Got to go to Bogey. Bogey coming to midfield. Bogey's long ball to Sanino. Sanino touches it down. He's got DiBernardo if he wants him. Angelo moves out of the way. Savage picks up Sanino. Back to Bogey. A little touch to Giorgio, who came all the way back to play the ball. Now back to Yarushi and now to Bogey. Cosmos with 11:11 to play in the first half, leading 2-1. By the way, at halftime, we're going to they have an entertaining piece on Sanino. Hi-ho, Sanino. That'll be at halftime. Stay tuned for that. We got Ricky Davis tips on also. And Bill Mushnick is talking to Wim Riceberg. And that interview took place before the game, so don't expect to hear about the injury. But it was interesting. Mushnick, Phil will be doing the interview. And Riceberg had a little problem last year on the bus. Wim didn't like what he had written. So this should be very interesting.
Well, it is, you know.
Here comes the ball through again. I tell you, that's where Atlanta's really looked, you know, a bit tentative as the ball comes in the box and defenders are just kind of standing around and no one's kind of playing the ball. Well, they are, but they don't seem to be reading each other on the play. And Cosmos have created a lot of problems in there for them. However, on the other end, Atlanta's looked dangerous in the Cosmos penalty area. There's Savage getting the ball off, and now it's Alderson, and Yarushi is there, deflected away, and Durgan touches it over to Birkenmeyer, who was out of the box, so he had played on the ground to Davis. All right, here's Bogey. They close him down. You've got to if you're going to beat the Cosmos. But then if you close him down, you got to worry about some other people. Now the Cosmos with Vanderels playing it back. Now headed by Sanino to the box. Reggie comes out, and they play the ball now to Chillin. Sanino knocked it away momentarily, but Atlanta stays on the ball. And here comes Atlanta attacking. Long up that wing, and it's knocked over the near sideline by Eskandarian. Esky being followed by Childs. That's a big matchup for the Cosmos, Childs and Eskandarian. There's a cross, not very good. Bogey's there. And taken away from Bogey by Chellin. Now, Chellin's been an in-and-out player for them, but he's playing pretty well tonight. Although he missed a great opportunity for goal a couple of minutes ago when the ball went over Bogey's head and he had only Birkenmeyer to beat, and Cubit made a great leg save. That was a nice move. And the cross to the far post. Inside, and it just got deflected.
It's a corner.
What a save. I believe that was a save.
Yeah, I think
like
it was
Iarussi. That looked like a perfect shot for goal.
Look at this lovely piece of work by Kidd. He puts a cross again, turning the defense around, a first-timer. And there's Bobby Iarussi reaching his foot in and just touching it out.
The save was by Iarussi, a saving play by Bobby. That had goal written all over it. And the Cosmos are looking very, very tentative defensively on those long, high crosses, Seamus.
That's right. Those
really bothering
those defenses, those crosses are turning the defenders around, and they're finding that Atlanta players are coming in behind them and first timing it, not sort of controlling it, but really getting off some dangerous shots and crosses right away.
All right, Cosmos headed away, and Hennes Weisbeiler, not liking what he's seeing with those high crosses, I'm sure, is out. He had a few words for the defense. Boy, he looks mad. Look at him. He's really mad. I said this before. He probably is the most vocal soccer coach in the league. I don't think it's even close. I mean, he's an American basketball type. He's a Hubie Brown, Kevin Lockreed. I mean, he just goes out there and he's out there yelling. He gets your attention, Seamus. Cosmos play it through now to Giorgio, and a shot and a save. Now with a chance there. I'll tell you, Tut's having a problem holding on the ball tonight, Seamus. That ball had to be cleared off the line again. That's the second ball they've had to clear off the line. By 2-1 the Cosmos. Now inside, and it's still at the head of the box. Cosmos having a tough time clearing the ball. Atlanta pressure. They played very well in this first half. Here comes Chellan. He gets around Sanino, and Iarussi just took it off his foot. Bob Iarussi just took it off his foot.
Yeah, but good credit to Sanino there, who did not allow Chellan to go alone there. He came back and challenged him.
All right, Giorgio on the right wing now, inside the 35. Pass to the head of the box. Now they play it back for Sanino. Giorgio staying wide now. Vander Elst playing, in effect, the center forward position, and Atlanta comes off with the ball. The Chiefs with it. Long ball. Coming for Kidd. Plays it back. There's a hard shot that went wide. The Cosmos' next regular season home game is this Sunday, May the 3rd, 2:30 against the Washington Diplomats. It's Cosmos Photomat Day. The first 50,000 attending on Sunday will receive a free coupon good for a full roll of Photomat film and $2 off on developing. Watch Quinaglia, Seamus.
Yeah, this is a good run by Giorgio. Gets in between two defenders now. It's a good, crisp shot on the ground. He doesn't get quite wide enough as he'd like, and that's why the keeper has a little trouble with it. It is a good, hard ground shot, and those are always more difficult to smother.
Romero takes this shot, and he hit it high. Romero, it's not a bad shot to take. Keeper's coming off his line a little bit. They're closing in. Romero, who's got a good right foot, but got it up too high.
At the other end, Atlanta hoping for the quick counter and using the skill of Kidd and Child as classic English strikers. That is, players to whom you lay the ball up just like that, and then touching it off to others, and then running into good advanced positions, just like you're seeing right now. That is the main thrust of their attack.
Mike Cosmos break it up that time. Bogey plays it back. Angelo DiBernardo around Alderson. Alderson stays on him. That's been typical of Atlanta's effort in this first half. They've really challenged the Cosmos. It's never easy on the road, though, Seamus.
Well, these midfielders have worked very hard. Brian Alderson in particular, and Chellan have put in a tremendous amount of energy. I don't know if they're really going to be able to keep it up, and we may see some substitutions midway through the second half in those positions. They may bring in Furphy and Byrne there.
They could, and they're two good strikers as well. So this is a deep club as well. Good run. And Eskandarian had a tackle away from behind by Radovic. Good play by Radovic. And Eski really venturing forward that time. Eski's got good speed. And they let him go that time. He's been marking Child.
That's right. Actually, it was Child, not Radovic. It looks like the numbers look the same, 5 and 9, but it was Child who came all the way to give us an example of how you do things at the other end. We've seen Sanino track down his fullback, and there you saw Child tracking down his fullback.
That's, you know, in effect, what Weisweiler has always believed in with his total soccer. He wants his players to go both ways. And that's, I think that's the modern soccer players, Seamus. Players in position is not as it's not what it used to be, where fullbacks stayed back and center halves and whatever. I mean, now you have attacking fullbacks, and all right, there's a good ball, and what a save! What a save by Birkenmeier again.
Oh, and Jeff Durgan very unhappy, as he should be, because he allowed Kidd to get away there. Look at this. Kidd has got a great chance here. He gets away from Durgan, turns, and doesn't hit it that well, but he's so close to the goal that it requires a quick reaction, and Birkenmeier getting to ground very quickly and getting his hands on it.
Tough angle for Kidd, but he almost did it. Now a ball coming through, and easy for Tutt. Time remaining now, 3:11 to play in the first half. You want to stay tuned at halftime? We've got the Ricebergen interview with Phil Mushnick.
That ought to be fun. One speaks Dutch and the other speaks double Dutch.
And we've got Sanino, a piece on Sanino, some great action shots on that speed ball. Look out, ball coming through again. Boy, I'll tell you what, Cosmos defensively have looked as suspect tonight as I've seen him look in a long time. And I tell you, and having Ricebergen out there, it doesn't help any either, because he kind of holds that defense together. But Atlanta really testing the Cosmos and really coming up with some dangerous opportunities. They're really kind of unlucky. This game could have been tied a number of times, Seamus. There's Draghi pounding it back in the box again. That's not a good ball. Over the goal line, goal kick Cosmos with 2:23. Seamus?
Well, the Cosmos also, in their attacking play in the last 15 minutes, have really not been as impressive as they were earlier. It's been a lot more congestion. In fact, in the middle of the field and in the center of the penalty area, it's been too much sort of anxiety to go the quick way to goal, which is down the center, instead of the more patient way, which is down the wings and around the side.
Right, headed back in the Cosmos zone. Here comes Atlanta again along the right wing. Here comes that long ball, but this time Birkenmeier's got it covered. Hubert had it covered that time. Now Ricky Davis and the Cosmos trying to make a rush here with 1:47. 2-1 the Cosmos. Romero off the mark, intended for Bogey. Here's Bogey hustling back, though, and forcing him to go back to the goalkeeper, Tutt. 2-1. Washington and over Tampa. 35 minutes left in the half. Well, that Washington club is really playing great soccer. Everett scored, and Waldron for Washington, and Worthington has scored for Tampa Bay. And Tampa Bay, they've had a rough start, Seamus, as the Cosmos come out. So it's 2-1 Washington, and that's with 35 minutes to go in the game.
Now this is more promising, going wider and then going back into the middle.
Right, headed out by Lichava. Lichava's all over the place. Now DiBernardo playing it to Rick Davis. Davis to Romero. Now to Bogey. Bogey leaves it for Davis. Back to Bogey. Savage, check it strong, marks him. Bogey got rid of it to Davis, and now to Sanino. It's got Savage. Sanino nowhere to go. There's a nice ball. Van der Elst, and they call offside. Not a bad idea, though. Van der Elst trying to get Sanino on the cut, and Sanino didn't time it well enough, and he was offside. 30 seconds to play in the half. 2-1 the Cosmos.
Good patience, though, there by the Cosmos. They know they only have 30 seconds or so to play out, so they didn't necessarily rush it when a lot of teams might try to get a quick shot in. They knew they should hold it, keep possession, try to work on a few defenders, a couple of give and goes, and they almost pull it off at the end.
Battle in the air, and Yarushi just bangs it out. Time remaining on the clock, 10 seconds. This is Whalen at his own 35, a long ball inside the Cosmo 35. Durgan has fouled Kidd with 3 seconds. And now the referee's going to talk to Durgan. He said, look.
That's a very questionable call, it seems to me. Kidd was backing in. His experience in the tough English league, I think, has helped him to draw that foul. Durgan was holding his position, not about to be moved, and then he rose to head the ball, and Kidd didn't. All
right, Diaz, the referee, made the call. Now free kick. They've got 3 seconds. They stopped the clock. The referee did. So the first half will end on a free kick. Dangerous. Right outside the box. 19 yards. Wall set up. Birkenmeier directing that wall. Let's see who's going to take this. Might be Kidd.
Sanino's, the coach, screaming at Sanino to watch number 12, Bruce Savage, here on the left of your screen. And he has moved over now to close him down.
And now the referee comes over. There's a good shot of the wall. Saratovich. And that should be the last play of the first half. It is. It is. That's the end of the first half. And Sanino, who scored the first goal for the Cosmos, Georgia the second. Cosmos leading 2-1 at halftime. You're watching Cosmos Soccer. Some Cosmos fans here in Atlanta. Well, we're trying something new tonight. With soccer's great growth in America, particularly the Cosmos fame throughout the world, the sports world has some new excitement. Now, one of the sports writers closely identified with soccer, both for insights and controversy, is Phil Mushnick of the New York Post. Now representing the New York Post, Phil brings his firebrand reporting to this segment of tonight's telecast. Now here he is with Ricebergen.
Wim Ricebergen here. Wim, in my 5 years of covering the Cosmos, I've never seen a player make such a radical role reversal. You're in your third year now with the Cosmos, but your first year and a half, I perceived you as a person who was very much to himself, very alone on road trips, as someone who was very critical of the press, very critical of teammates, and often the organization. Since last July, and that's, I think, when you started playing the soccer that you continue to play now, which is, I think, the best on the team, you seem to be a different man. You intermingle with the press more. You intermingle with your teammates more. Is it my imagination, or are you a changed man?
No, I'm still the same, but let me say one thing. I never saw a reporter like you in my life, too. But
we'll have round two today, maybe?
Yeah, that's a possibility, yeah. But it takes a while before you get used to people, and I'm the kind of guy, I don't want to be involved the first minute with what's happening in the scene. But so it took a while before I knew the people, and I had some rough times with some press people too. And but now you know the people. You know what you can say to some people and what not to say, and I think that's a part of the whole thing. And as long as you play well, you don't have to say too much. But
well, let me ask you this. You've been known to be less than in total agreement with Hennes Weisweiler in the past, and yet we've seen in recent months some very big names disappear from the lineup. But recently you signed a 2-year contract. Does that explode the theory that in order to survive on the Cosmos, you must get along with Weisweiler 100%?
Oh, no. If that was the thing, I wouldn't be here either. No. I think everybody does his job, and as long as you do your job, you can be a part of it. But some things, of course, have nothing to do with playing on the field. But there are some other things what people make decisions, or you hear or not. But as long as you play, there is no coach in the world who doesn't want you.
Thank you, Wim. Wim Ricebergen, always honest. Could be a little more concise. We're going to have a word.
Sanino has added to that tonight with the first goal of the game for the Cosmos that tied the game, and then Giorgio knocked one in. 9th goal of the year for Giorgio, and the Cosmos lead here at Atlanta's Fulton County Stadium at halftime, 2-1. Jim Carvelis together with Seamus Mallon again. All right, next Sunday, Cosmos take on the Washington Diplomats, the club that's right behind them, only 3 points behind them in the Eastern Division. And Washington winning tonight, as we reported earlier, 2-1 over Tampa 35 minutes ago in the game. Now, right at this stadium, Washington beat this Atlanta club 3-2 in a bizarre game. It was bizarre, Seamus, because the goalkeeper had everything to do with scoring a goal.
One of the most amazing goals you'll ever see. Jim Brown from Washington just taking his time, looking upfield, bouncing it a little bit. Looks very easy. Then he hits a long, high ball, goes way down over the halfway line, beats all the players. The defender falls down. The keeper, amazingly, is out of the goal, and it's a goal. I've never seen anything like that happen before. I've heard about it in England, perhaps, South America. But here it was in the NASL just a couple of weeks ago. A stunning goal against Atlanta.
It was right here in Atlanta as well. And Jim Brown will bring the rest of his offensive players along to Giant Stadium on Sunday. That'll be the next Cosmos home game, 2:30. Now, on the 17th of May, the Cosmos play the Chicago Sting, an outstanding club, as you know. and it'll be Youth T-Shirt Day. The first 20,000 youngsters, 16 and under, receive 2-1, Seamus. It has not been easy. Atlanta has attacked the Cosmos. They've been unlucky a couple of times, I thought. Yarushi's great defensive play knocked it off the line. And then also Birkenmeyer has been called on to make at least 2 outstanding saves. So the Cosmos, as we predicted at the top of the show, are having their hands full in Atlanta.
They are, and in rather a peculiar way. They're seeing a lot of high balls coming across, and they haven't seen much of that so far this season. And when that happens, you have to ask yourself a question. That is, where are those balls coming from? And what it means tonight, I think, is that a lot of midfield players are coming through in the wings and not being closed down early enough. That's what's going to happen in the second half.
And keep in mind that Ricebergen not in the lineup now. He was injured early in the game, and he is not back there, and the Cosmos are feeling a bit of that as well. That's not an excuse. All right, from Atlanta, 2-1, the Cosmos on top at halftime. You're watching Cosmos Soccer. Right in Atlanta, Jim Carvelis and Seamus Mallon. The Cosmos lead Atlanta 2-1 at the half. They've never lost to Atlanta in 5 games, but here in Atlanta, they've won the last 2 years by the slimmest of scores, 3-2. The goals in tonight's first half. All right, now watch this good cross by Strong.
He does very well to get that ball before it goes over the line. He gets it across. A difficult ball for Birkenmeyer. Just manages to flick it on, unfortunately, right into the path of Child, who has a 1-yard shot and puts it away. 1-0 Atlanta after 2.5 minutes.
Now the Cosmos will equalize.
Nice little ball from Sanino, running onto it, Canali, one of those patented diagonal runs. He is beaten to it a little bit by the keeper, but the ball does run loose, and Giorgio has another chance at it, and he hits it strongly. But look at Drogi throwing himself at the ball, knocking it away, but along comes Sanino to make no mistake and tie it up 1-1.
All right, so it was tied 1-1, and then the Cosmos would go ahead in this ball game on Giorgio Chinaglia's 9th goal of the year. 9th goal of the year. And Yarushi made a lovely pass on this play as we look at it again.
Yeah, here's Bobby Yarushi. Just got the ball from Bogey. He strokes a ball through, beats 3 players, and Giorgio, being knocked over, still manages to get it off and in off the post. A lovely goal, but what a nice ball from Yarushi. Very reminiscent, Jim, of that lovely ball from Ricebergen to Sanino that we saw in the halftime piece there in Dallas last week.
Hey, Seamus, Washington now leads Tampa Bay 4-1 with 20 minutes to go in the game. Now, that means they've scored 2 more goals in the last 15 minutes.
They're for real.
They surely are.
Really are.
And they're going to be in Giant Stadium Sunday, 2:30, battling for the Eastern Division lead. So, even though it's a new Washington club, same story. Washington and the Cosmos battling for first place. All right, second half underway now. Atlanta going from left to right. Atlanta in the white uniforms, Cosmos in blue. Inadvertently headed away by Child. It'll be a Cosmos throw-in. The Cosmos wish to acknowledge the continued support of Joe Manfredi and Safe Toyota as the official automobile dealer of the Cosmos, of LSA, the official outfitter and uniform supplier of the Cosmos, and the Bahamas Princess Hotel's official training site of the Cosmos. Seamus, I must say, I want to say hello to Joe Manfredi's dad, who's been under the weather. He's been sick of late. He may be watching, but we want to say hello to him and hope that he recovers speedily. All right, with the ball now, Atlanta. 2-1 the Cosmos. We've just started the second half. Cosmos have had trouble with this Atlanta club tonight, especially with those crosses. That cross is knocked down by Durgan. It'll be a throw-in. Atlanta. Atlanta's got Kid, who's good in the air, Child, who's very good in the air. They just cross him over there and let him run onto him.
That's right, and they got Alderson coming through very nicely in support of them, and Chellan has done a very good job in the first half. So let's see if the Cosmos can close those 2 down a little bit.
Lichaba's throw outside the box to Kidd, a curving ball that will not be dangerous. Over the goal line will be Cosmos' ball, goal kick.
And there you did see Ricky Davis coming back one-on-one with Chellan on that high ball, giving him no chance to get under it and just escorting it over the sideline. Over the end line, excuse me.
If Washington wins tonight, they'll be 5-1. The Cosmos at 4-1. And Tampa Bay will be 2-5, if you can believe that, Seamus. 2-5 for the Rowdies. All right, here comes Radovic, a chip to the box, but it's knocked away. I watch Angelo DiBernardo now as he almost overran the ball. Romero. Yarushi plays it wide now for Jeff Durgan. Here's Jeff. Here's the stats in the first half, Jim.
It's pretty even. 7 shots to 9. Atlanta out in front there. Saves 4-1. You see corner kicks 2 for Atlanta, none for the Cosmos. Only 13 fouls, pretty evenly split. And 2 offside by the Cosmos, none by Atlanta.
Miley Chaba coming forward now. And Romero, a good job. Romero took it from Lichaba. Bogey, a long ball offside. They called Giorgio offside.
Actually, I think Sanino, I saw Giorgio come back, so he was okay, but Sanino then went by his winger, his wing defender, and that's who the linesman was pointing to.
So it was Sanino on the outside, not Quinaya, who was offside on the play. Ball runs through and booted out of there by the Cosmos. In the air, Dreggy battling Quinaya. That's always a battle. And now a whistle and a foul. And they're going to call it against the Cosmos. Against the Cosmos. Right in front. Cosmos haven't cleared it yet. Bogey finally does. Bogey right in the middle of the defense there, Seamus.
Yeah, he did very well. He saw where the players were who might receive that pass. He cut in between both of them and then cut it away beautifully with some nice, skillful touches.
Trying to play it to Vander Elst. Lichaba made the play defensively. Now Child. Now Strong, number 12. He's played a good game. He assisted on the first goal with that fine cross. We should say the only goal. And now it runs free, and the Cosmos will have a throw-in deep in their own zone. Soccer Camps of America, the Giorgio Quinaya Soccer Camps, the Pelé Soccer Camps, and the Cosmos Soccer Camps will begin another group of sessions this summer. Call Soccer Camps of America at 212 area code 484-6900 for more information on the finest in soccer instruction. All right, Atlanta with the ball. 40 minutes, 45 seconds to play in the game. The Cosmos leading 2-1. Sanino somehow stayed in the ball. Savage really hit him with a savage tackle. It's a great name for a defender.
Well, Sanino didn't go down, and he eventually lost the ball. And you wonder a little bit about the wisdom of staying on your feet when you're knocked about like that and don't go down, because a couple of times the Atlanta players have gone down and drawn the fouls.
All right, Atlanta at the Cosmo 35. This is Kidd. Long looping ball that Davis heads out to the edge of the box. Atlanta stays on it. Here they come inside again, away from Alderson. And Davis did a good job to clear it. Here's Sanino. People nipping at his heels. They go to Romero. Lichaba closes down on him, and Lichaba stole the ball. Lichaba stole it. Headed away by Yarushi. And right to Bogey. Not only did he clear it, he got it right to his man as Lichaba gets to his feet. Lichaba, good two-way player, Seamus, and I see him attacking more in the second half.
His space is open now, though, as he's not come back quickly enough to see if they can use it.
Angelo DiBernardo got through, stayed on the ball, got it to Romero. A chance, and it's blocked down by Lichaba. That was a hard shot that Romero had gotten away, and a steal by Quinaya. Giorgio came back to steal it from Lichaba. Now to Bogey. Tried to get it through to Vander Elst, and it was taken away by Tony Whalen. Whalen of Atlanta. 39-13 to play in the game, Seamus.
Good move by Vander Elst there, seeing Quinaya come out to the middle of the field. Went into his space instead, and Bogey tried to feed him.
All right, from Atlanta's Fulton County Stadium with the Cosmos leading 2-1, you are watching Cosmos Soccer. Well, it's still a 2-1 game. The Cosmos on top here in Atlanta, 37-47 to play in the game. Jim Carvelis and Seamus Mallon. Hope you're enjoying Cosmos Soccer. Atlanta with a free kick.
Durgan's having a hard time with Kidd. Kidd is just a bit too smart for him and causing him to do a lot of things that a more experienced player might not be doing. In other words, holding him a little bit when he's being pushed. Jeff quite frustrated because he is being pushed off the ball by Kidd, but the referee is not seeing it. And Kidd is just too cagey for him.
All right, here's Hubert Birkenmeyer. He's had to be sharp tonight. He's only given up 4 goals this year, Seamus, including tonight's. All right, Cosmos with it now, trying to get it out.
Having a lot of trouble now. You see, they're just not distributing very well through the midfield. The ball is not coming through quickly enough. Obviously missing Ricebergen a bit, who's very good at advancing that ball quickly and threatening other defenders from the opposition to commit themselves. And the loss of Ricebergen in that position is hurting a little bit so far.
There's only been one substitute in this game, and that was Romero for Ricebergen. Right, here's Whalen, the veteran. Tony, who played with Miami and then Fort Lauderdale. Played on the U.S. national team, right, Seamus?
Uh-huh.
Cosmos again losing the ball. Atlanta's playing a very strong game. That's Kidd. Really testing Cosmos defenders, Bobby Arushi, and Bobby did a good job.
He does. Well, Bobby has for many years been a wing defender, not just a central defender, and he's a pretty hard man to beat one-on-one out on that side. He knows those moves well.
Seamus, there was another example of the ball bouncing very high on a grass field, as high as I've ever seen a ball bounce, I think, on the grass field. And actually, there's a long ball hit to a defender, that could bounce to an offensive player. That could bounce right over the defender's head.
May have accounted for that free goal we saw.
That's right. That's right. The goal by Jim Brown. It's a long throw in the box. That was dummy through, and what a save. He saved it off to save a corner kick, not save on goal. Great play by Hubert as he took the pressure off himself.
Well, Bogey tried to head it back down to him, and he wisely heads it wide of the goal, not towards the goal, so it's not a bad mistake as you might think. But what a great grab by Birkenmeyer to save a corner kick.
Right now we will have an Atlanta corner kick. Atlanta with a corner kick now. Time remaining 34-55. And the Cosmos have their hands full here in Atlanta tonight, leading 2-1. But these Chiefs have been buzzing around the goal. There's the corner. Headed off the line. Great save by Rick Davis. Rick Davis headed it off the line. Watch it again.
It's a difficult ball. Hubert starts to come, then changes his mind, and Whalen comes in, heads for the post, and good positional play by Davis. Right on the post, stayed there, did not stray off the position, and was there to knock it away. Good header, though, by Whalen.
Great header by Whalen. They go again, same spot. This time Hubert comes out, didn't get the ball, but Esky cleared it. That time Hubert wasn't waiting for the Whalen header. He was coming out to get it, but he really didn't get it. And now another long ball into the box. Davis lets it go over the goal line. Alderson gave him a bump from behind, and the Cosmos will put it in play. Now Bogey's got some room out there. Nice return. No, now it isn't a nice return. Now we're going to call what? A yellow card against Alderson.
Yeah, Alderson obviously gave the referee his opinion of his call. That is the referee's warning to him for bumping Davis unnecessarily, which is a wise thing for the ref to do. And
well, I think also Alderson was arguing that Davis obstructed. Well, that's not obstruction. I mean, that happens all the time when the ball goes over the goal line. Defensive player is going to shield that man away to allow the ball to go over the goal line. Alderson, a very tough character, good competitive player, and he got a little bit too competitive that time. Bogey dummies it through, and Vanderels was late getting there. Here's Tutt. He hasn't had much to do lately, Seamus. Most of the action has been at the other end of the field, and Birkenmeyer's had a lot to do. Nice little flick by Sanino and knocked over the sideline. It'll be awarded to Atlanta again, and the time reads 33-33 to play in regulation.
Well, the midfield was bogging down in Giant Stadium on Sunday. You may remember that Cabañas came in to become a third attacker and bring one of the defenders out. Durgan came out. Now, I don't know if this is going to happen this time. It's not something you normally do on the road, but we'll see what Weisweiler has in mind.
Strong had it knocked away, but it came right back to Alderson. So Atlanta stays on the ball. Webster Lichaba, number 20, outside the Cosmo 35. Webster plays a nice ball on the right here. Bogey's going to have to cover. He's on Strong. Strong likes to go to his right. He goes to his right. And Lichaba didn't control that very well. Goal kick coming up for the Cosmos. 32:50 to play in the game. Webster Lichaba, South African player.
Bogey played that very well. Did not overcommit himself. Did not slide in, sort of head feet first, and make an unnecessary tackle where he would have been committed and therefore exposed the ground or the area behind him. But patiently waited for the mistake, and the mistake eventually came.
And now the ball over that sideline and awarded on a throw-in to Atlanta as Davis tried to work something with Sanino. Sanino hasn't had the ball. The Cosmos just haven't been on offense this half. Comes Tony Whalen getting around Bogey. Gets right around Romero, too. Dangerous cross, knocked out by Yarushi. Bobby's always there. Allison plays it to Lichava. Well, the Cosmos having trouble defensively. Bogey made the play. And Romero loses it to Whalen, who pushes it. And then a corner kick coming up. For the Cosmos, again, being pressured, and everyone's coming forward. That's Whalen, defenders, Lichava, and Whalen coming forward to make dangerous attacking runs. And Allison, Chellin will take the corner kick, Seamus.
Well, they're coming forward because they know the Cosmos only have 2 strikers back there, so therefore they can cope with things with 3 defenders.
Headed out. That was Bogey that made the play. Now Chellin's cross again. Far post and headed up in the air and cleared by Yarushi again. Angelo DiBernardo fighting for the ball. Quinaya kept it alive. And now all the way back to the 35-yard line of Atlanta. That's Savage. Time remaining 31:05 in the game. 2-1 the Cosmos lead. All the goals came in the first half. Atlanta scored first. Goal by Child. Then the Cosmos, Sanino tied it, and Quinaya gave him the lead. And there is Birkenmeyer again having to punch that dangerous cross away, but Atlanta's still with the ball. Here it comes again. Knocked out of there nicely by Eskandarian. Boy, the Cosmos really under the gun. Now Sanino has a chance. And the speed ball comes to the midfield line now. Running laterally, he's got DiBernardo on the left if he wants him. He does. Dangerous pass, though. Too close to the defender.
A bit unfortunate, Sanino opted for the middle there when he had so much space down the right side where he could have made a much more penetrating run, but he opted to go in to the middle and therefore ran across defenders and gave them a chance to get back and cover.
All right, here's the fullback, Savage, and easy for Birkenmeyer. From Atlanta's Fulton County Stadium, the Cosmos leading 2-1 in the second half. And you're watching Cosmos Soccer. All right, still 2-1 the Cosmos. And now trying to come out with the ball. And here comes Sanino over the midfield line. Sanino beats one man. Comes in the box. And then finally stolen by Whalen. Whalen made the play. Or the Cosmos' next regular season game this Sunday, 2:30, Giant Stadium against those tough Washington Diplomats. Radovich. Bad cross. By the way, Sunday's game will be Cosmos Photomat Day. The first 50,000 attending on Sunday will receive a free coupon. Good for a full roll of Photomat film and $2 off on developing. 28-15 to play in regulation. The Cosmos hanging on 2-1. Roberto Cabañas warming up on the sideline for the Cosmos. It was Cabañas who came in the last 20 minutes against Tampa Bay with the Cosmos down 2-1 and sparked the win. He got the first goal to tie it at 1. And the Cosmos at that point went to 3 attackers as opposed to 2. And one wonders, Seamus, whether they're going to do that again here. Also keeping in mind that Atlanta's been a pretty dangerous club, and you wonder whether he's going to want to play with 3 midfielders instead of 4.
Yeah, well, of course, against Tampa Bay, as you remember, they went back to playing with 3 back players, essentially, by taking Durgan out. Admittedly, one of the midfielders left in did look back and do a bit more defensive work, but it was all out attack then at home to get back into the game, and it worked. Now, Cabañas coming back in now. It's going to be very interesting to see who comes out.
Right now, the Cosmos trying to contend with this persistent attack that Atlanta's manufactured. They've really given the Cosmos fits. Now the ball rolls free. But the Cosmos have stood up to it as well, Shane.
Well, they've had the interesting thing about Atlanta is they've had so much of the ball. They've really had a lot of ball possession time. And you wouldn't expect that against a team with the talent and ball possession skill of the Cosmos, and that's one of the reasons they're having so much trouble. And like that, also, the good play of Kidd.
Broken up by, yes, Yarushi again. Now the Cosmos trying to change it. DiBernardo, Lichava right up to challenge him. They get it to the open man. This is Romero. Romero struggling a little bit, just getting his first game after a couple of games. Now to Bogey. Interesting here, if Atlanta doing all the attacking, and should the Cosmos score. Here's Davis, knocked out of there by Dregge. Dregge very good in the air. Anytime you put the ball across on Dregge, you know, you've got problems because that's his strong suit, I think, in the air. Over the head of Child, picked up by Eski. Eski played it to Romero. All right, Cosmo's starting to get a little bit of the ball now, Seamus. Broken up by Whalen. Whalen broke it up. Now a long ball, and there's Eske high in the air. And Ricky Davis off with the ball. Fans wanted to foul.
That was a good challenge. Eske going up well. Child not making much of an attempt for it, and the referee therefore not penalizing Eske for the contact because he made the effort.
All right, we're coming up now. 25:40 to play in the game. And it's 2-1 the Cosmos. It's been a struggle. Ricky Davis to the midfield line. We told you also at the start of the game, not only had they played the Cosmos well here, but they played the 3 games that they lost were all very close games. They lost in the shootout. They lost on that freak goal by Brown against Washington. And they lost the game here to Fort Lauderdale where they outshot them 20-8. And there's Tutt making a save. Tutt made a good save that time.
That's right, on
Vander Elst was coming right in on him.
Well, they got to do a little bit more of that. They got to start springing some of these people through, like Angelo and like Vander Elst, and it almost came off that time. If they're going to go centrally, they got to go through with people other than Quinalha. He can't do it all his own, and neither can Sanino because he's really much better wide.
All right, there is Sanino now. Let's see if he goes wide. He plays it wide to Romero. Romero taking on Savage. And now the shot and a goal!
Sanino!
Incredible.
Boy, we just talked about how he should stay wide. He comes in the center and slams a beautiful shot in with his left foot.
Romero
Was it
went,
Romero or Sanino? No, Sanino.
Romero went wide. Sanino got it to him and then stayed at the top of the box. And watch the way he took this. Now Romero with it. Watch Sanino, the way he takes this.
Look at the
outside the left foot.
That's right. No spin, a very little spin on the ball. It curves towards the post. The keeper really does quite well to get over there. And it was hit in the air, which makes it a little easier for the keeper. And in it goes, and the Cosmos now are working on a 9-pointer. There you see it again, a beautiful
funny game,
hit.
Seamus, funny game, soccer. Atlanta attacked for 22 minutes, for 21 minutes they attacked. And then the Cosmos had that opportunity by Sanino, and he slots it for his 2nd goal of the game, his 4th of the year. The 2nd time this year he has scored 2 goals in a game. He did it against Dallas. And now he has doubled last year's output, and here we are in the 6th game of the year.
Well, he took that just with great professional calm and tremendous authority. A lot of players would have hit a ball like that way over the top or hit it off too much with the outside and would have gone skidding wide and that sort of thing, but he hit it with great skill and authority. No chance really for Tutt.
Hi-ho, Sanino. Away.
It's going to be sounds like the war cry from here on.
Oh, boy. My Cosmos leading 3-1 now. 23-10 to play in the game. Savage keeps it in nicely. The battle on the sideline. Atlanta's played very, very tough. And this game isn't over yet. 22-55 into the box. And it went right over Kidd's head. Durgan allowed it to go over his head, and it'll be a Cosmos throw. There's Rick Davis. The Cosmos defense has really been under pressure tonight.
Cabañas, in fact, has come into the game, and the player he replaced was Romero. So Romero has put in a good 60 minutes or so, and he's now out of the game and resting, and Cabañas is in to replace him, and of course Romero was a midfielder. So we'll see where Roberto takes up his position now. With a 3-1 lead, my guess is they will not gamble with a 3rd forward, but instead play a little bit more cozily in midfield with 4.
65-25, the goal by Sanino, assist to Romero. 4 for Sanino. Quinalha scored his 9th tonight as well. Not a good pass by Cabañas. Atlanta coming on the attack. Leave it for Webster Lichava. There's Webster on the right sideline. That's it back for Strong. And now here's Tony Oyland. And knocked out of there nicely by Eske.
I see Furphy, by the way, Jim. Keith Furphy warming up on the other side. We expected him to come in at some point or other, and Chadwick now giving him a chance, perhaps.
There's Keith Furphy. Well, we'll see his dad and his Washington diplomat Sunday.
There's Bogey again, dropping back. You know, Bogey fills into that position beautifully.
Great
Here's
ball.
Vander Elst coming out now.
Great ball by Bogey to get it to Francois. Now to Giorgio. Quinalha. Here's a shot. And over the top. I believe Tutt hit it. Yes. Quinalha coming up with a left foot that time. Tuck made the play.
Yeah, I think Droege expecting Georgia to try to switch it to his right. There's a good ball from Van der Els. Georgia now goes a little inside and then outside, bringing it to his left. And gets a little push again by Droege as he gets the left-footed shot off. Droege, I think, hoping that he might go to his right foot and
set
get
that
tackled.
up. That was a great pass by Bogey to set the whole thing up. Now the far post corner. Boy, that was interesting.
Wow, it just seemed to carom off the leg of Van der Els when he, I think, was very surprised that ball carried over all those heads.
I wonder if there's some wind up here tonight. There is, Seamus, and I'm wondering whether the wind is kind of affecting some of those high balls, because they're going over people's heads, and
really,
all the high balls have looked very dangerous tonight.
That's right. The wind has certainly picked up here. We've got papers blowing all over the place in this open-air booth.
Cosmo's coming on now. Seems like since the Sanino goal, just before the Sanino goal, a couple minutes before that, I think we had mentioned they were starting to get more of the ball.
Well, not only getting more of the ball, but getting it upfield more quickly. Instead of bogging down in the back four and passing laterally or getting into the middle and finding nobody open, the transition was much quicker.
Cosmos leading 3-1 now. 19:57 to play in the game. Bogicevic, but a strong game defensively tonight. Now Jarushi venturing forward. Now he got it off on the right. Now the cross, offside. They call offside.
I can't understand who was offside there. Was it Angelo?
Can't either. No, Angelo could have been offside. The defender was right in front of him.
Flag went up right away. Linesman in excellent position, so he must have spotted somebody. But again, Sanino playing such a good game, getting 2 goals and going wide there, taking on defenders and getting by them for the cross, but offside foiled it.
Durgan goes down. Durgan was hurt in the play.
That's right.
And here's Atlanta on the attack. Here's Kidd. There's that long, curving, dangerous ball. And headed away by Eski again. Eski, a strong game of defense tonight. Cosmos have had to be sharp defensively. Headed out by Yarushi. Cabañas under pressure. Tackled off the ball. Yarushi is there to collect it. Now Yarushi, a good pass to Bogey. Bogey with 2 men on him as it knocked away. Davis picks up the loose ball. Roberto Cabañas with it. Cabañas has Angelo DiBernardo on the left side. Here's Angelo. Now a little ball in the box. It's knocked back out again. Headed back in the box. A little give and go, a little touch. And Lichava stepped in to take it away for Atlanta with 18:25 to play in the game. Now some room for Alderson. Brian Alderson, number 8. Now to Savage. Washington's won that game against Tampa Bay. Washington's won that game, so now they're 5-1. They got 9 points. Cosmos are going to have to win here and get 9, or they're going to hold on to first place and roll back to Birkenmeyer.
Boy, what a dangerous pass back there by Bobby Arushi, but he did the right thing at least. He hit it a little bit to the left of Birkenmeyer, and he hit it back very strongly. Not a soft pass, but a good, sharp, crisp pass to beat the attacker coming in, who was Child.
Van der Els had to play it back. Lichava wouldn't let him go forward. Now DiBernardo with it. And time remaining 17:45 in the match. Cosmos spotted Atlanta a goal and then went up 3-1.
Roberto, Cabañas' final passes, or the penetrating passes, are really not too good. Now look at Giorgio coming back to try to close things down. Cabañas, that's not really his strength, those good tricky passes of the bogey variety. It's much better coming in from the outside or being in the center position to go for headers.
Wide Atlanta trying to crack the Cosmos defense. Play wide to the left. This is Chellin, I believe, over there. Long way away in Atlanta from the field. It's a high cross. Hubert came out and punched it away. He's out of the goal and went over the top. Kidd with Birkenmeyer out of the goal, got under it and over the top.
Hubert not doing as well as this one as he would like. I think he came out for the cross, but as he punches it with one hand, you'll see he punches it down to the ground. Now, he does not want to do that. You want to punch it in the air and out wide because it goes down to the ground. It goes to another player. As it did, it went to Kidd, and he just didn't get a good volley off. But that, I think Hubert will be a little unhappy with that when he sees it on the tape next week. I think he just misjudged it a bit.
Murphy's in for Radovich now. Keith Murphy in for Radovich. We told you Keith is the all-time NASL indoor scoring leader, and he's not been playing well of late, and there is some concern about the fact that he may be tired as well. He played such a strong indoor season, comes right to the outdoor game. That could be the reason. Now the ball over the near sideline. Of course, he could also be going through a bad patch, as the players say. That happens to everyone.
Well, he's certainly a lot happier down in Atlanta here than he was in Detroit, where he had that terrible stigma of the coach's son around him all the time. Couldn't really do anything right to keep the fans happy. And this was a good move for him, and he's had some very good indoor experience, as you said. I think he is just tired. I think he really played a very aggressive game indoors, got a lot of goals.
Good play by Davis. Excuse me, Seamus. Yeah. Seamus really played that well. On Furphy. Now they get it into Furphy. And good play as it's knocked over the goal line. The Cosmos.
Yeah, Furphy hit it, I think.
That was a great ball into him, too.
Right.
Excuse me, Seamus. Watch this pass.
Now look at Sanino. He sees the danger, and he comes back, puts a little pressure on Furphy, who then hits it as Hubert comes out to dive at his feet also. But again, the pressure by Sanino is a little pressure, not a lot, but just enough to make him rush the shot. Shows any youngsters who are watching how important that is. It caused a goal in the stadium last Sunday as Sanino pressured Keith Bailey.
Cabañas and Lichaba brings him down from behind. Roberto Cabañas, Lichaba. It's a hard foul. The Cosmos.
Here's the foul. Cabañas just dribbling the ball away from him, out of stride now. You watch the stride. He misses the ball and brings him down very heavily. Look at the dust there. It's just in that infield, and that's a tough fall there.
Cosmos' next telecast against the Tulsa Roughnecks. That'll be next Friday, May the 15th, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, right here over WOR-TV Channel 9. That's 2 weeks from tonight.
Hey, and that Tulsa club is an improved club.
Yes.
They got some talent now. They got some skillful players in midfield. They're going to be a tough team the rest of the season.
Davis played a good game tonight, Seamus. Another nice tackle by Rick. Now Giorgio wide. Now comes back for the middle, passes inside to Van der Elst. And they're going to call what? They're going to call a foul against Atlanta.
They're going to call a penalty shot?
Are they?
Let's see. It's right at the line. I doubt he'd call a penalty shot.
No, I don't think he'll give him a penalty on that. They'll probably give him a free kick from the line. Referee talking to Whalen and Draghi.
I think it was a handball or not. There's a nice little touch by Giorgio into Van der Elst. The ball comes up in the air off Van der Elst's foot. And then there's a high foot in there and a handball, too.
Whalen.
Let's see if it's direct or indirect. I didn't see the hand go up by the referee.
Just outside the box. James, I think this is direct. All right, let's see what the Cosmos do on the free kick.
Giorgio, I think, sees an opening. He's sort of taking those little steps.
Yeah, he's peeking through the wall, trying to see where he can place it through. They seem to be giving him some room in there. And now they shot and went over the top. Cosmos claiming that it was touched by Atlanta, and the referee not buying that.
Jacksonville, with 20 minutes to play, are ahead of Fort Lauderdale 1-0. And that Jacksonville club, hard to figure. They're hot and cold down there. They gave the Cosmos fits, as you remember. The only loss of the season by the Cosmos to Jacksonville. And they're now pressing the division-leading Fort Lauderdale Strikers, leading them 1-0 with 20 minutes to play.
Okay, it's an interesting division, that Southern Division, with the 3 Florida teams and this Atlanta club, which, even though they're losing 3-1, have shown themselves pretty well tonight. It's going to be interesting. They're only 8 points behind the leaders. Atlanta is, that is. And Durgan has called for a foul here. It's been a tough night for Jeff.
That game is
very happy.
That game is in Fort Lauderdale, by the way. Jim, the Jacksonville are leading 1-0, and that's a bit of a shocker for the local enthusiasts down there in Fort Lauderdale. Now let's see what happens here. Alderson ever dangerous around that ball, and Furphy too. Let's see if they can get around the wall of the Cosmos.
All right, let's see if they set up a play. Maybe they'll have someone break through and they'll chip it into them. They've got Whalen, who's good in the air. He's poised to make a run in there. Oh, they're going to take the shot. And a goal! And a goal! And it's 3-2. That's been the score the last two times the Cosmos have played here.
That was Brian Alderson. Brian Alderson. Ever dangerous. Scored some great goals against the Cosmos. A little touch by Furphy. You see the charge from the wall here by Eskandarian. He fires the ball along the ground just inside the post. A good dive by Hubert, but he can't quite claw it away. And it's 3-2 once again in Atlanta. And that ever-dangerous shooter, Brian Alderson. Remember that great goal he scored for New England in Giant Stadium to beat the Cosmos 3-1, the first time the Cosmos lost at home for a long time.
Cabañas. Now the Cosmos come on the attack. Quinayo's shot is knocked down, and Whalen comes off of the ball. Brian Alderson in the goal, 77-50 in the game. And it's now 3-2, anyone's game. And here comes Atlanta again. Alderson, the goal scorer. Backheel nicely. That's Chillin coming inside. Yarushi knocked it away. Bobby there, always there.
Oh, Angelo makes a bad mistake giving that ball away.
It's a high ball. Birkenmeyer up to grab it. And we have 10:49 to play in the game, and now it's tense again.
Alderson with a goal at 77-50. Assist from Furphy, and seat squirming time now for the next 10 minutes. Cosmos would love to get another one, but they certainly don't want to give up anymore.
Angelo kept it from going over the sideline. Kinaya battled Alderson for the ball, and now it's Tony Whalen with it. Knocked away by Durgan. Bogey came all the way back to strip the ball. Now got it to Angelo on the infield. Now he goes down, and it's over the line. Angelo slipped and fell on the infield.
Well, Angelo looks like he's easily going to get this ball, but then you see his right foot go out from under him, and down he goes.
My Cosmos breaking out. This is Sanino. Sanino goes down in a foul. They're going to call foul. That time he went down, and Whalen's called for the foul, and Whalen was descending with Diaz, and he's going to get a yellow card for that.
Again, Sanino trying to keep his balance this time, but I think Whalen feels he got a touch of the ball there, and that in fact Whalen went over his outstretched leg rather than being fouled, and he may have a case.
Yeah, I think Tony got a lot of the ball there. In any event, Tony didn't like the call. He argued, and he got a yellow card for his argument. We have 9:39 to play in the game. It's 3-2 the Cosmos. That's the score the Cosmos have won by here the last 2 years. And right now they'll settle for it again. Okay, free kick the Cosmos. Clock is stopped.
Now, this has been happening a lot in dead ball situations.
There's the shot, and it just went wide. Just went by.
Giorgio, a little unhappy, I think. He can't believe he got so much of the goal to see. But look at him stride into this and really crank it. A beautiful shot, but just whistles by the post. And Giorgio feels maybe he should have had that one because he got a good glimpse of the side of the goal to which to shoot in.
Clock has stopped again. Clock has been stopping a lot here during the game. We had this problem here last year.
But there's a substitution here this time, I think, Jim.
Substitution, they should stop it.
Yeah.
Byrne is warming up. And he's in now for Chellin.
That's
so
right.
They've got Furphy and Byrne, as you predicted, Seamus. Two guys that they had on the bench, and they're both good goal scorers. All right, time remaining now, 9:05. And now a foul against the Cosmos. And now it's Cosmos were getting on top of this game. They went up 3-1, and now it's Atlanta getting back. And there's Byrne, the new man, number 10.
Well, he's been a terror indoors also. Been very strong indoors. Comes from a great soccer tradition in England, where he was the son of a player that many old-timers may remember, a fellow named Budgie Byrne, who used to play for England, and then went to South Africa. Again, part of this South African connection that Atlanta seems to have monopolized quite a bit.
All right, here's that cross. Good header out there by Cabañas.
Yes.
Cabañas good in the air and used it for defensive purposes that time. It's Quinaglia chasing Lichava, and Giorgio stole the ball. Quinaglia, nice ball to DiBernardo. Now for Giorgio, that's not a good ball, and Strong picked it off. Angelo chasing. Time coming up now on 8 minutes to play in regulation. The Cosmos on top by 1, 3-2. Atlanta's goal on the free kick tightened things up. Eskandarian just fouled Child. Now a long ball to Byrne. Nobody marked him. Here comes to try to cut it back in front, and Yarushi was there. Bob Yarushi under pressure. Stays on the ball. Bobby still up that side. And look at Yarushi. And now touch it off the bogey. Great job by Yarushi.
Tremendous.
Took it right out to the midfield line under pressure. And now the Cosmos with Vanderels. To Sanino. Chaba, good play, but Sanino came back for the ball. Check it, that was Cabañas, and he was knocked down, and Bogey crosses to the far post. Now a loping little ball that Quinaya heads toward goal. And now it's trapped by Bogey, and the shot over the top. Cabañas, not Sanino, was taken down outside there, and the Cosmos very dangerous that time. Bogey had a good chance.
A couple of good chances in there. Bogey and Cabañas working very hard. Van der Elst and Quinaya also in around the goal, hoping to just get one of those last nail in the coffin kind of goals. Especially important at this time when they're under such offensive pressure. Atlanta throwing caution to the winds at this point, as they must do, with 6.5 minutes to go, going forward, trying to get the tying goal.
Good friend of ours, Kyle Rowe Jr. in the booth tonight. And Kyle, what are you doing here?
Jimmy, don't put me on the spot. I'm just in here looking at this Atlanta franchise, and there's word out that there may be some new investors maybe getting involved in this team.
You going to come back and play? We're going to come back and play?
Every player thinks he can always play forever, and I'm no different, Jimmy. You know that. You even think you can keep playing.
A few of us know better than that.
Kyle Rowe Jr. has done so much for the game in America. Great guy. He's also my broadcast partner when we do indoor soccer during the winter. All right, here comes Atlanta again. Tough Atlanta club still coming in the box. And a roll back to the goalkeeper. Diaz says play on. Atlanta wanted a penalty kick. 5:50 to play in the game. Here's Bogey with the ball at his own 35-yard line. And there's tension out of here. Cabañas and Sanino working. This is Sanino to Giorgio. At the 35, Giorgio. Chaba tackled it away, but Giorgio should... Oh, he's going to let it go. Chaba hit it last.
Good move by Giorgio. No point in racing over there trying to save a ball like that. Let it run out of bounds. Catch your breath. The Cosmos throw in. A few more precious seconds go down the clock. Now at 5:20 to go.
Good to see also that the Cosmos are just not playing defense here with a 3-2 lead because they're also attacking now, and that is still the best defense. It's a good offense. We've said that many times before, but it applies. And if you can keep your opponents pinned back or worrying about you scoring, it's difficult for them to go the other way. There's a good shot of Strong, who's played well tonight, this young American from Northern Virginia.
The only thing they got to worry about is putting too many midfield players forward and allowing players like Alderson to get into scoring positions as he did in the penalty area a couple of seconds ago.
Referee said play on as DiBernardo was stripped of the ball. Now Atlanta at midfield. Time remaining, 4:40 in the match. All right, here's Childs running it down. Esky all over him. Paul Childs somehow got a cross away, and boy, that was dangerous. Kid cut right through, and the Cosmos deflected it away, but Atlanta's still with it. Childs, and knocked out of there. Rick Davis can't keep it. Byrne with it. Cabañas with him, and Cabañas just outran him. Cabañas just outran him, and Byrne took him down.
What a bad foul there by Byrne.
And now the Cosmos coming over. Some of the Cosmos players very unhappy with that.
That's a red card foul. I'm sorry. I don't believe in a yellow card in a situation like this. You give a player a red card and send him right out. Look at this great play by Cabañas, who comes back and gets the ball away. Now look at this. He kicks him right out from under him. I just don't believe in a yellow card here. I think you send the player right out of the game immediately.
Nowhere near the ball. I mean, he wasn't going for the ball at all. He was kicking Cabañas.
Now, I have no sympathy with a player who does that. We've seen it several occasions in the past. Not very often, in fact, maybe, but when it happens, it should be punished severely and quickly and with the ultimate punishment, not just with the caution.
All right, Cabañas is up. Apparently all right. Cosmos just have to clear the ball. Atlanta pressure. Now they roll it all the way back to Hubert. And time remaining now 3.5 minutes. Cosmos have to hold on for 3.5. Birkenmeyer, a beautiful throw, but Ricky Davis couldn't control it. Just a little past him. Cosmos clear it. Now in indoor soccer, they would have called that a 2-minute delay game penalty.
Esky finds touch, as they say in rugby, and he's looking for the crowd up there. But I think, again, the referee will stop the clock on that one, as he does. Well, he quite properly should, yes.
But they've been stopping the clocks here on free kicks from time to time, and I don't understand that.
Just 3:15 to go now.
And the clock takes a long time to run down. when you have a 1-goal lead and there's 3 minutes to go in the game. And if you're behind 3-2, it goes awfully quickly. Here's Cabañas. Roberto beats one man, and then Lichaba knocked it over the sideline. Lichaba hit it last. Cosmos get an important possession here. Every possession really important now, Seamus.
Absolutely, especially around the middle of the field where the Cosmos can use their skill and attacking knowledge and abilities to really put some pressure on the team and not let them come out.
Lichaba stole it, and now it's Atlanta with the ball. Childs has lost it in the box, and Birkenmeyer casually picks it off with 2:19 to play in regulation.
Good distribution by Hubert. Again, you see, not just kicking it upfield to relieve pressure, but trying to do everything possible to maintain possession.
All right, Atlanta stole the ball, but it comes easily back to Angelo DiBernardo, and a lot of Cosmos dropping back on defense now. Angelo's taken more of a defensive position the last couple of minutes.
Now everybody's marked up tightly now. I don't know if Hubert will be able to find somebody. I guess he'll still have to punt this one away.
That's against the wind. Pretty good kick. And against difficult in the air with that wind. And Atlanta now, a long ball to Furphy, who plays it back. Here come the Chiefs. Minute 37.
Here comes Don Drogi into the penalty area.
Great play. See that position by Yarushi. Didn't go for the ball. Didn't try to steal it. Just played really good positional soccer. Forced the man to go to the outside, and then when he hit it too far, he was right there.
Well, the other thing, of course, is important here is that Bobby knows he's got help behind. A lot of players panic, forgetting that they got players behind him to help. And he knows that Birkenmeyer is going to be coming out behind him and looking for the ball because he hears Hubert yelling at him.
Seamus, we have 1:11 to play on the clock. Of course, the referee has the official time. And this is a very good kick by Birkenmeyer. Very good kick. And look at that high bounce. That's Whalen. And Whalen has it knocked away and knocked over the sideline now by Cabañas, Cosmos. All right, they stopped the clock with 55 seconds. Ball went up into the stands. There's the time.
All the writers on
Cosmos.
all the writers on our left here, Jim, actually looking at that clock, all thinking about a late plane they're catching back to the Newark airport.
No one's looking at it any harder than Weisweiler.
Right. Nobody wants a shootout or overtime here.
Weisweiler doesn't even care about the late plane. He cares about the game. In the box, look out. Great play. I think that was Ricky Davis.
Yep.
It was Davis who scissored that ball back outside. That was dangerous. This is dangerous, too. And Birkenmeyer knocked it away, but he was fouled. That's a good call. That was a good play by Hubert. He had that ball all the way. There's the time ticking away.
He had that ball all the way, Jim. You're right, because it took a long time to get in there. It wasn't one of those quick volleys or quick low crosses that have been so dangerous by Atlanta in the earlier part of the second half here. So he had time to get out there, and he was fouled as he tried to pull it in.
Ricky Davis got rid of it nicely. Now the clock reading 12 seconds, as you can see. Cosmos trying to win here for the third straight time, 3-2. Here comes Sinino. Now to Quinaya, 4 seconds. Now to DiBernardo with 2. Angelo will cross the ball, and that is it. That is it. For the third straight year, the Cosmos have had an alley fight with these Atlanta Chiefs, and Sinino walks off the field with 2 more goals. A happy man as the Cosmos have won their 5th game of the year against 1 loss. We'll be back. You're watching Cosmos Soccer.
All about who's